Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi sallam tasliman kathira. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Salatu rabbi wa salamuhu alayh. To the family Ramadan family, I hope you guys are doing wonderful and you're enjoying your family iftars. And of course, I can't wait for my home-cooked family iftar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. My name is Ammar AlShukry. I'm an instructor with the Maghrib Institute. And I'm going to be talking about how you can get the most out of your dua in Ramadan. And I want to really just share a few points with you. Something very, very practical, very, very brief. There's a hadith that I love very, very much. And I actually have it on my wall here if you can see. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, focus on what benefits you and seek the help of Allah and don't give up. This hadith, number one, is really, really beautiful. It's reported by Muslim and it gives us a practical roadmap to success. You know, the self-help industry is billions of books, self-development, not billions of books, but billions of dollars worth of books and material. You go to any bookstore and you'll find all of these books about how to develop yourself and how to go this and how to live your dreams and how to. And here the Prophet ﷺ gives us 3 really practical steps that I want to kind of manipulate for Ramadan. And number 1 is to focus on what benefits you. Focus on what benefits you, he says. And so the first thing you have to know is what are you asking for? What do you want? And that requires some thought. A lot of us use our dua as some completely robotic exercise, disconnected from our life, the life that we are living, the things that we are complaining to our friends about every single day and calling mom about, the things that we are venting on Facebook about or Instagram or whatever, the things that we are crying about day in and day out. When it comes to dua, none of that is communicated here. And that's the first thing that we have to remedy. إِنَّمَا أَشْكُو بَثِّي وَحُزْنِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. Yaqub alayhi salam says, I complain my sadness and my grief only to Allah. And so, whereas we use all of these other channels for our complaints and for our sadness and for our grievances, and when it comes to dua, we're just saying some things that are robotic that were taught to us in grade school. Yaqub alayhi salam is saying, no, this is the channel that I use. And so, number 1 is figuring out what it is that you want. Some of us don't know what we want. I had a friend of mine who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given a lot of blessings to. And, he was late 20s, already had a great job, already married. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with children. And so living in a beautiful state of California, right? Sunshine, beaches, all of that. So I was in a car visiting him and he was saying to me, I actually I don't know what to make dua for. He's like, I've got it all. And that was kind of his moment of confession. And so I said to him, have you entered Jannah yet? And he said, oh, I guess I do have a lot of things to make dua for. Yeah. And this is a formula. If you're not sure of what to ask Allah for, this is a beautiful formula that we're given in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً, that's for the dunya. Give us goodness in this world. And give us goodness in the hereafter. So it's 1-to-1 now. Ask for the dunya and ask for that hereafter. وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. The hellfire. Protect us from the hellfire. And so that is a 2-to-1 ratio of asking for dunya versus asking for akhirah. 2-to-1 ratio of asking for akhirah as opposed to asking for dunya. And of course, the akhirah should occupy more of our dua. That a person is asking Allah for Jannah. And hence, the Prophet ﷺ, when Aisha radiallahu anha asked him, she said, if I'm experiencing Laylatul Qadr, what should I ask for? He said, say, Allahumma innaka afoon tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Oh Allah, you love to erase the trace of sin. You love to completely overlook and pardon. So overlook my sins. Pardon me. Forgive and erase all of my sins. Right? Asking about the akhirah. That moment of Laylatul Qadr that you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the hereafter. You ask Him for forgiveness on the Day of Judgment. So focus on what benefits you. But even if it comes to the dunya, focus on what benefits you. Figure it out. What is it that you want? What is it that you want to accomplish this year? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Laylatul Qadr, فِيهَا يُفْرَقُ كُلُّ أَمْرٍ حَكِيمٍ. On the night of power, every matter of incredible, every matter of wisdom or greatness is determined on that day. Ibn Abbas said even the names of the Hujjaj for that day, for that year, for Dhul Hijjah, they're written on Laylatul Qadr. So it is a day that you want to make sure that you are present, but not just present, you want to make sure that you are focused. One of my teachers, he mentioned that when he was a kid, he simply had a goal of memorizing the Quran. He was in a hifz program and he really wanted it. He was making a lot of dua for it. And he on Laylatul Qadr every single night, on the last 10 nights, every single night, he made sure to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow him to memorize the Quran. He was like, I don't know which one is Laylatul Qadr, I'm just going to go for that dua every single night for those 10 nights. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him that gift of memorizing the Quran. And so the point here is, what is it that you want? It doesn't have to be memorizing the Quran. And this is another point, by the way. A lot of us, we spend a lot of very valuable real estate making dua for things that we don't really want. We just think this is what a good Muslim should ask for. And so we're not very interested in memorizing. For him, memorizing the Quran was a real goal of his. For someone else, it might not be a real goal. It might not be something that they're interested in right now, memorizing the complete Quran. And so you know what? I'm not going to make dua for something just because I think this is what a good Muslim should make dua for. Make dua for things that you are passionate about, that you care about, things that will make your eyes tear and your heart tremble and your tongue stutter, things that you really, really care about. So that's number one. Focus on what benefits you. And number two, the Prophet ﷺ says, and then seek the help of Allah. Seek the help of Allah is incredibly powerful, that you know, when you're embarking on whatever it is that you want, that you constantly make dua to Allah. That you recognize in your heart that if Allah wills it, you will get it. And if Allah does not will it, it doesn't matter who says yes. You're not going to get it. And so when you enter into an audience with Allah in your dua, that you recognize that you are entering the court of the King of Kings. That you enter, recognize, and if you were going to enter into an audience with a king, you would have prepared. And so part of that is preparing. You know what? The 10 nights are coming. Prepare your dua list. Have your 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 or whatever most important things, life-changing, the things that you care about the most, that you want to accomplish within the next year. Make dua for those things. Have that list. Make sure that every single night you are making dua for those things. Chase those things. So sta'in billah, seek the help of Allah. And then number 3, which is very powerful and important, he says, وَلَا تَعْجَزْ. Don't give up. Don't stop. One of the things that stops us, the Prophet ﷺ said, يُسْتَجَابُ لِأَحَدِكُمْ مَا لَمْ يُعَجِّلْ. He says, you will be responded to as long as you are not hasty. As long as you're not hasty. And they said, well, what is haste? He says that a person says, I made dua and it was not responded to me. And so make dua today and tomorrow and the day after and the day after that. And after Ramadan is over, continue to make dua and don't give up on your dua. Don't stop. Persevere. Endure. You know, yesterday was the 16th. So a lot of people have been sharing, of course, and have read by now that beautiful passage right at the beginning of Surah Maryam, where Zakaria alayhi salam, the scene of Surah Maryam, the first scene in Surah Maryam is describing this prophet that has been weathered by age. He's an old man now. His hair is white and his bones have become frail and his wife has become barren. And he is saying, وَلَمْ أَكُمْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّ شَقِيًّا. My Lord, I never lose when I make dua to you. And so the question that I have for you now is, Zakaria is asking Allah for a son. Zakaria is asking Allah for a son, even though he has literally checked every reason why he shouldn't have a son. I'm old, I'm really frail now. My wife, she's barren now. But I never lose when I make dua to you, Ya Rab. So grant me a son. Do you think that the first time Zakaria made dua for a son is when he had reached that old level, that old age, that level of old age? Is that the first time where he thought to himself, you know what, it would be good to have a son? Or has he been making that dua for decades? Has he been making that dua for decades? But he's not giving up. This is my dua. This is what I want, Ya Rab. And I don't lose when I make dua to you. And so grant me a son. Grant me a son. And this is a really important lesson as well, is that sometimes you might have something that you want really, really badly. You want really, really badly. You have the brother who's been trying to get married for years. Sister's been trying to get married for years. Or maybe it's the couple that's been trying to have children for years. And at some point you might think to yourself, you know what? I'm not going to make dua for it this Ramadan because it's been too painful. Last Ramadan I did it, and the year before I did it, and I went to Hajj and I did it, and I stood on Arafah and I cried my eyes out, and up until now it just hasn't. And you know what? Maybe I should just come to terms with the fact that this just might not be my destiny. I am saying to you, don't lower what you want. Raise your dua. Make it more powerful. Make it more energetic. Cry even harder. Beg Allah even more. Because of a number of reasons. Number one, dua. Dua changes things. Dua is one of the most effective means for you to get whatever it is that you want. But number two, even from an aspect of worship, just pure worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there might not be anything that you offer in your life that is more powerful an act of worship than the dua of a heart that is breaking. The dua of a person who wants something so badly and they are begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it. It may be that if in Allah's divine wisdom, it never comes to you. On the day of judgment, when your deeds are placed on a scale, it may be that those du'as that you were making for an entire lifetime will be your reason to enter into paradise. Those emotional du'as, that hope, that love, that not giving up, that could be what enters you into paradise. Zakaria says, and I never lose when I make dua for you. Every dua is answered. But they are answered in different ways. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives it to you as you wanted. Excuse me. Sometimes it is delayed for you because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees in His wisdom, His perfect knowledge, that you receiving it in this moment is not what is best for you. There might be something that is even better. Or three, that dua is used to save you in this life from something else. And so you have some calamity that was destined for you, but you're making dua to get married, and that dua then gets transferred over to protect you from this ailment or this disease or this car accident or this poverty or such and such. And so dua always becomes a reason of goodness in this life and in the next. So these are three things. Now, if I can add from the hadith, if I can add a few other points. Number one is the Prophet ﷺ, he says, "Ud'u Allah wa antum muqinuna bil ijaba." Number four is certainty. That a person, when they make dua and they are certain, they know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to respond to them. That a person not say things like, "Oh Allah, if you wish." The Prophet ﷺ said, don't say that, because you're not going to force Allah anyway. So don't say, "If you wish, do this or do that." No. Ask Allah with certainty. "Oh Allah, grant me. Oh Allah, give me." That's number four. Number five, that the most, to embark on the etiquettes of dua. And the etiquettes of dua are many, and you You can, read a lot of books on the etiquettes of dua. Sheikh Yasir Qadi has a book called Dua, the Weapon of the Believer. You can check that out. I'm sure there's a passage there about the etiquettes of dua. But that Prophet ﷺ mentions a lot of etiquettes, and I have them compiled in a short poem that you can find if you look up my dua album on YouTube. Just look up Ammar AlShukry dua album on YouTube. You'll find a passage that says the etiquettes of dua, and it goes, make still your heart. So the first condition is the presence of heart. Let it be, make still your heart. As you talk to the King of Kings, let it be broken, for words spoken are not token when hearts bleed from shattered things. Let it be broken. Let your heart be present and broken, because words spoken are not token when hearts bleed from shattered things. The things that you are saying in that moment, in that fear, even if you're stumbling, even if the words aren't coming out right, words spoken are not token when hearts bleed from shattered things. Words spoken. So when your heart is shattered, this is the most important. The inkisar, literally, that brokenness is what is intended from dua. That is how it is an act of worship. Because you recognize, oh Allah, I can't, you can. I am transferring whatever this issue is from my limited power and ability to the power and ability of Allah. And how beautiful is that? And raise your hands, for no hands return to him empty-handed, and send praises upon the Prophet that are beautiful and expanded, and seek entrance before you begin by seeking forgiveness from every sin, and beg and implore, and then implore some more. Do not by delay be defeated, for he loves for our words to be repeated and entrance to be entreated. And so, raising your hands to the Prophet ﷺ, in the hadith of Salman al-Farisi, he says that your Lord is shy and generous. He is shy that when these hands go up, that he allows them to go back down empty-handed, and that you send salam upon the Prophet ﷺ, and that you praise Allah before you do so as well. So you say Alhamdulillah, and even if you just recite Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Fatiha is a dua, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, that is a dua that you make. But before you make the dua, what are you saying? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Malik Yawmiddin. You are praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because even there always has to be an introduction before a request. Even when you call up a friend and you're about to make a request, you're calling them for a request, but what do? Do you just say, hey, salam alaikum, can you give me a ride home? You don't do that, right? Your friend, you just, salam alaikum, hey, how's it going? Right? Before you ask for money, right? Before you need to borrow money from them, you don't say, salam alaikum, can I borrow money? You're like, salam alaikum, how are you doing? Long time no see, man. How's everything? How's work? How's your, right? You have to do an introduction. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that praise is the introduction. That's how you enter into the audience with the king, that praise. And in any case, and raise your hands, because no hands go decked down empty-handed, and send blessings upon the Prophet that are beautiful and expanded, and seek entrance before you begin by seeking forgiveness for every sin. And so beginning by making istighfar, and then beg and implore, and then implore some more. Again, this goes back to that notion that we talked about, that the Prophet ﷺ says that it is responded to you as long as you are not hasty, and do not by delay be defeated. Allah loves al-ilhah. He loves that we continue and continue and continue to implore him and ask him. And there are a number of other etiquettes. Of them, of course, is by beginning with or using Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names and attributes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names and attributes are there for the purpose of dua. Allah says, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا, in Surah Al-Ahzab. Surah Al-A'raf. He says, and to Allah belong the most beautiful names, so call upon him by those names. And so these names that we know of are because and for the purpose of making dua. And so remember to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for by his beautiful names and attributes, that if you're asking for mercy, that you ask Allah by his name Ar-Rahman. If you're asking for rizq and provision and financial security, that you ask Allah by his name Ar-Razzaq, or Al-Mu'min, the one who grants safety and security, or Al-Wahhab, the one who bestows in gifts. If you're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, for marriage or for children, a beautiful name is Al-Wahhab, because we see many times that the word hiba is tied to spouses and children in the Quran. رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا لِأَهَبْ لَكِ غُلَامًا زَكِيًّا فَهَبْ لِي مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا. Again and again and again we see this request for children from the prophets using this word. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by his name Al-Wahhab. And I am teaching in online, and it's free, and I would encourage you to join if you have the ability to do so. The names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, short sessions on some of the names of Allah in a program that we're doing with the Maghrib Institute called Ramadan 360. Ramadan 360 is a really beautiful virtual community that we've created because of people, all of us really not having access to our masajid during Ramadan. And so we wanted to create this place. And alhamdulillah, we have almost 10,000 people on Facebook sharing gems and showing pictures and doing challenges together and communicating and getting advice from each other on what to do with our kids during Ramadan and all of this. It's a very engaged group. And we have these daily sessions, 3 or 4 daily sessions happening every day. And I am doing a weekly session on the names of Allah. And I would love for you all to join us. But in any case, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you can check it out at Ramadan360.org. But in any case, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to not make for us a dua except that it is accepted, and no hum or stress except that it is lifted from us, and no debt except that it is repelled or that it is taken care of for us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and no sick except that they are healed, and no deceased except that they have been experienced mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that their reception be beautified by him, and no need of ours except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it easy for us and facilitate it for us by his mercy and his benevolence and his generosity. Jazakumullah khair. I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts from all of you your fasting and your charity and your qiyam and your recitation of the Quran. Wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam kathira.